Okay, YouTubers, there she sits. Been kind of tinkering with the Ford Fusion. Motor sounds great. I think you can hear it running there. I haven't actually got to do a lot because the weather's been really bad outside. Today's not much better, but I wanted to show you what's going on. Took it for a drive, and I did find out that, as I said earlier in the previous video when I first got the vehicle, that the transmission had a little bit of a hiccup. Now I took it for a drive, and I got the transmission to start doing what it was doing. It's not shifting very well between first and second gear. It's a hard delay. If you let up on the throttle a little bit, then it goes into second gear and it shifts. But one thing right off the bat, you see the little wrench light came on, which says, uh-oh, you got a problem. Hook up an OBD2 code reader. So that's what I did. And here's what we got. We got a PO757 shift solenoid B stuck on. Now, this code doesn't mean that the shift solenoid is bad, so don't go out saying, oh, we'll buy a new shift solenoid and put it in and your transmission will be just fine. No, what this actually probably means in most cases that there's foreign material inside that shift solenoid and it's not letting it release. It's stuck open. So I think what I'm going to do is drop the pan and check the transmission fluid and clean it out real good and take that solenoid out and check it and see if it's actually stuck or there's debris in it. And if there's debris in it, then I'll clean it, put it back in, see what we got. But if it's not stuck on, and it more than likely could be the solenoid, so we'll just have to see, you know, what we got when we get it apart. But worst case scenario is if there's debris inside, maybe pieces of metal or something, maybe the transmission is starting to come apart internally, then we'll probably have to pull the transmission out, get another one, or rebuild this one. I just may rebuild this one because I'm kind of into that thing, you know. I like to torture myself. I've rebuilt lots of transmissions in the past, but the car is in great shape. I mean, it's just an amazing running car. It's a little dirty right now. So this is what we got right now, and the PO757 shift solenoid B circuit stuck on. So, or basically it's stuck open. So that's what we got. So we're going to stick it in the garage and we'll take the transmission pan off and see what's inside the transmission pan. It would be great if the solenoid was just dirty, but we'll see. So there's what we got right now. And other than that, everything else is okay. Of course, we got the tire pressure sensor light, typical on Ford. We'll deal with that later. I was on, the motor sounds great. So starting to snow a little bit. Let's go outside and listen to the engine real quick. All right, start it back up, see if the wrench light comes back on. I see it went off, so that's why I left it running, grabbed my camera, and wanted to show you guys about that. So let's go outside real quick. And I hate winter, it is so muddy. Let's see if I can get this hood open with one hand. All right, there we go. A good sounding engine. I mean, listen to it. I don't think the camera does it justice. This probably sounds a little loud on the camera, but it's very quiet to me. It's got a little bit of a lifter tick when you first start it, but it warms up, it goes away. I mean, it's not bad at all. That rag air is over the battery because I don't want to short out on the hood. It takes a low profile battery. But I did check the transmission fluid, which is, let me just check it real quick since we're on a roll here. Transmission dipstick is back here, and you can see transmission fluid is not terribly dirty, but let me see, get it on my finger here. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to change it, but that's what we're up against. We'll see if we can take care of this a little bit later. The car, I think, is well worth fixing, no more than I paid for it. So that's it. We'll be back a little bit later. We'll take the pan off and see what we got, and hopefully bring it back to life and get it on the road. All right, we're in the garage tonight. I got the old Fusion up on ramps, and in order to get to the bottom of this oil pan on this transmission and even to work on the engine, you have to take this big piece of plastic off that I've already kind of unbolted. There are 10mm bolts that hold it on there, and one of them kind of got rounded off there. You can see it was kind of turning, and I just grabbed the vice grips and held it, and it was actually one of them on the frame right about there. So we got all these here loose, and you can see now there's the transmission pan, there's the oil pan, and now we'll go ahead and kind of drag this out of here. Big piece of plastic that's up under there. So we're just going to kind of push it back out of the way for now. And there is, like I said, the bottom of the engine and everything. And the transmission panel in this transmission is not too bad to take out, although there's some bolts over here next to the frame that are kind of a pain to get to. I may actually go on the other side and drop the wheel off and try to get those, but let me see what I can do for now. And there is the drain plug. Go ahead and get that out. Drain the oil. And pretty big transmission. There's the part of the bell housing. But looks like we got a little bit of a transmission leak right there. Or someone just spilled some transmission, I'm not sure. But frame is in pretty good shape on this 08. Heck of a lot better than a lot of the Tauruses. So let me go ahead and get this off here and let you know how this works out. Alright, so we're going to get the transmission plug out. Now this plug here takes an Allen socket, 5/16. What we got here. And get a light a little bit better. See how hard this is to get out. Well, lucky me, it came right out. And I'm sure that this is some black transmission plug. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's black. It looks like oil. Nasty looking stuff. Alright, we'll let that drain a little bit. Alright, let's drag our fluid out. About a gallon, about 4 quarts, and you can see it is black. Looks pretty dark to me. So, let's go ahead and get the oil pan off. Alright, in order to get this transmission pan off, Ford had to make it exciting. You can see all the bolts on this side, all the way around. You can get to them, but the problem is over here by the frame, there's some bolts that are up under here. Not sure how well you're going to be able to see this. What you got to do is take the wheel off. And when you take the wheel off, from this side, there is a plastic piece here that you can take off, which is right here on this one. And it kind of sits right there. Pop that off. Then take a bolt off on this guy right here, this little hose. Take a wire, pull this up out of the way, and you can get a small wrench in here on the bottom of these little screws that hold that transmission pan on. I was about to go crazy. It took me 20 minutes to get 2 bolts out because it's really tough to get in here. One's right there, the other one's right there, so you can pretty much lay on your back and look up under there and see where this wrench is. Once you get those off there, then you can take a socket with a angle at the bottom down here, put an extension on it and put a swivel on it, and you can get the rest of those bolts off. But man, those 2 back here right against this frame, about to drive me nuts. So that's how I got that off. And this right here, this is just a line and then bolts from the frame here. Just put a wire on it, pull it up. This will give you some room there to get your hand down there. Alright, out comes our last transmission bolt. And that wasn't too bad. Now we've got to pry this pan off. Let's give this a shot and see if we can get it off. Alright, let's do what we can. See if we can get this pan off. Take a couple screwdrivers and kind of tap it off a little bit here on the side. Try not to damage the housing so it doesn't leak later. And I think it's working. So you have to have a little patience a lot of times when you do this, kind of separating. There we go. Oh, alright. This is why I like draining the fluid first. I'm glad there was a pan drain for that right there. All right, out she comes, and down we go. And, oh, a little fluid there, but not a whole lot, but there is the bottom of the transmission pan. So I'm going to let this drain out a little bit here, and we'll take a look at the bottom of this pan. And there, see, I think this is solenoid A, B, and I think this is the solenoid that was saying it was a problem. So, and it looks like somebody's been working on it because look at the silicone. So this is why you gotta be careful a lot of times. You can get this stuff in the transmission fluid, and if a filter doesn't catch it, it'll get caught in one of your solenoids and can give you a problem. I'm not saying that's what the problem is, but man, there's a lot on here. Look at this. A lot of stuff. Alright, so let's fish this thing out without spilling anything that's in it. We have to dump the rest of this transmission fluid out. Yeah, let me go ahead and get my pan, dump the rest of this out slowly. Alright, let's give this a try here. The rest of this out. Pretty dark. Black. Alright, live action. Some of you might know what that means. Alright, there's the magnet. See if I can get my light set up a little bit better here. We can actually see. I don't see any metal, which is good. So maybe we just have a solenoid, just typical black stuff there. And let's see, we got no metal. So maybe we just have a shift solenoid issue. Now, one thing I do like, it doesn't shift, it doesn't slip when it shifts. It's got all the gears, so it tells me that the clutches are okay. So it's just more than likely a problem, solenoid problem or something. But typical black, a little bit of blacker on the magnet. I got my gloves on, and this is very slippery. There we go. So we'll clean up the pan, and then we'll go back under here and we'll look at the solenoid real quick. So there's another look at it. I'll have to get the manual on and figure out which one. I think this one's the solenoid that's bad. But you got solenoids on this side and they never go bad from what I've been reading. I just can't believe all the extra silicone that's in there. So I guess that's all we're going to get done tonight. I'll pop the solenoid off and check it for debris and go from there. Tell you what, before we get too ahead of ourselves, I'm going to go ahead and drop this filter off because some of you may want to know how to do this. We got to unhook this wire. This is a transmission temperature fluid sensor. And this should just pop right down like that. There may be a little more fluid. Yeah, it's going to come out. Trying to catch that a little bit, which is pretty typical. Of course, it's going to be in my camera shot. We'll just grab the camera. One nice way to ruin your camera. Okay, it's good. There we go. Oh. All right. Glad I told you about that, huh? All right, so we'll let this drain, and we'll get another filter and put on it. But it looks like at this point, I don't see any metal in the pan. And I'm hoping that's just probably a solenoid issue. But if I see metal in the pan, and this is probably going to be true for you, if you see a lot of metal in your pan when you take it apart, then more than likely you're going to have a transmission rebuild process you're going to have to go through or tear it apart. But if your pan is clean like mine, maybe you'll get lucky. So I'll get a new filter and I'll check these solenoids. Maybe purchase another one or test this one. And we'll see what we can do there with that. Alright, so what I did, I went on ahead and bought a brand new transmission filter, put it in where the arrow is, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to take shift solenoid B, which you see right to where the arrow is, and those three solenoids are all the same on the bottom, and I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and take solenoid A and put it where solenoid B was, and see if I could duplicate or move the problem somewhere else and get a different code. And of course, That did not work. All it did was come back with another code, the same code, matter of fact, and it was a PO757 Stuck B solenoid. So sometimes you can do this trick, it'll work, and sometimes it doesn't. But in a nutshell, I'm pretty much done now until the weather warms up and I can get some more room in my garage. But that was the skinny on that. But I think once I get this vehicle put together, it's going to be a nice little vehicle for no more than I paid for it. So all you can do is try, and sometimes these methods work and sometimes they don't. But at least you tried. That's what matters, right? So until my next video, guys, have a wonderful day, and I will see you then.